This is the review of the Insta360 X3 and I'm using it as a travel vlogging camera. In this review, I want to talk about my insights on what my user experience is with this camera. How good is it to be using it as a travel camera? I'm not going to be talking about the stats, the specs of this camera on this video. There's tons of other YouTube videos about that. What I'm going to be talking about is my real world experience with this camera. What is it really like using it? Is it good? Is it bad? I've got a lot to share. So the first thing you need to know about this camera is the best thing about it is that you don't have to worry about where you're shooting all the time. Like right now, I'm about to do a 360 motion of my environment without needing to change the camera angle. Check it out. Pretty cool, right? Very cool. And that's really the biggest point of having this camera, is that you don't have to worry about your surrounding environment and you kind of just live in the moment, travel in the moment, and capture everything the way it is. Ooh, they have this, which is really nice. So if you guys can't tell, I'm in Cambodia right now and I'm just about to have some breakfast. Real world problem, and one of the best things about this camera is that if I forget my tripod, because this camera has a base that's flat, you can stand it up, and I'll show you just recording with my iPhone here. So this is literally the setup that I have right now. If I forget my tripod, which I only have the selfie stick here, if I forget my tripod, I can stand it up like that. Because it's a 360 camera, I can reframe it to shoot my face here, this way. And that way I can actually have something more or less like a selfie stick. But of course, because the camera is at a lower angle, you're going to see more of the angle up my nostril. So that's probably what you're going to see right there. Right. Thank you so much. Wow, delicious. Very delicious. Okay, here we go. This is the food. As you can see that I can literally record every action that's happening around me with a 360 camera. That's the huge benefit. Like the server serving me this food, I can get that all on camera without touching the camera. That's the main benefit of this camera for sure. Okay, one of the great things about this camera that I find is that you can choose your aspect ratio after the fact. That means, let's say for instance, if you're shooting content for something that's for Instagram or for YouTube, then you can figure that out later if you want. Now, because a lot of times content creators like I am doing, we walk into a situation and we think that it's enough content to become, let's say, a YouTube video, but when we get into the situation and the activity is over, you only have enough for maybe a reel, right? And so the best part about having this camera is that I can switch the aspect ratio just like this. And now we're in real mode. I'm gonna switch back. There we go. So you can see in this situation here, like they're getting ready for the water festival here, which is a big event that's happening this weekend. Make sure you follow my YouTube channel, Unborders. I'm gonna cover this event that's happening this weekend. It's a big event, a water event. I'm here in Siem Reap, but you can see they're already preparing for it. In situations like this, when I walk into a festival like that, having this sort of camera is really great because this way I don't have to worry about, is it enough for the content or not? I'll figure that out later. A lot of the things, the post-production stuff, you can figure out later with this camera. And that I find is a huge advantage of this camera. One of the things about these lenses is that they are actually stronger than I expected them to be. Because if you know, they sell an accessory that you can stick on. It's called a lens guard. And in my opinion, these lenses I've dropped them on the lens, like sitting from a table, just like this, and they're completely fine. I haven't dropped it from 6 feet or waist height yet, but in my opinion, I think they're pretty durable for what they are. And so far, I don't have any scratches on them, even though I've dropped them on the lens, like directly on the lens, maybe 2 or 3 times now on a table. So, pretty good. Okay, so one of the benefits of having a 360 camera is you're able to tell a better story. What do I mean by that? I mean, when you're walking into a market like this, an encapsulated space, you're better able to show your environment to your viewers, right? Make them see and feel what it feels like to be with you. The visuals are just a lot better. Therefore, a better story, a better vlog, a better content. And that's one of the things that I find is a huge, huge benefit for this 360 camera. Now you're probably wondering, with a 360 camera, the footage must be huge, right? Since it's capturing the entire sphere, and that's very true. So I recommend if you buy this camera and you're planning to travel vlog and you don't like to offload videos quite often, buy a 1 terabyte micro SD card, and that will give you 17.5 hours of footage on this camera. So you probably have seen a lot of videos online where they say that the microphone on this thing is quite good, which I think can be a fair statement. But I feel that without an external microphone like this, a wireless one, your video is gonna be very hard to watch. Now, I'll give you an example. I'm at this intersection here where there's a lot of cars going around here, so it should be a little bit noisy. Right now, a little bit less than before, but right now it's starting to pick up. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull the microphone out of this camera and use its internal microphones, and you can see the sound differences. Here is a recording with the camera without the microphone attached. And so you can see maybe the sound quality might be different. I have the camera right about, let's say, an arm's length away from me right now. And I'm right by, traffic, a busy road here like this. This is what your audio will sound like if you're vlogging without a microphone. So what you can see here is I got my camera connected to my laptop as well as my external memory connected to my laptop, and I'm transferring all these files that I just recorded onto my external. So then when I do a video edit, there just won't be any lag at all. Because if I try to edit with this software here, which is the Insta360 software with it connected directly off of this camera, what will happen a lot of times, I would just say almost every single time, is that when I try to scrub the files and play it, there'll be like pauses, and it just will lag. But if I transfer everything over to this external first, it is smooth like butter. It'll just read and write quickly, and I can view everything without any lag whatsoever. And it makes the whole process a lot easier to work with. So with this camera here, one of the cons that I have with this camera is that it takes time for it to start recording. The camera's off right now, and if I press this button, what will happen, it'll turn on from off mode and start recording right away. It's more of like the quick action button. And so I'll press it now. 3, 4, 5, you see that? It takes a while. And so once it actually starts recording with the camera, I've already missed the entire action. So that's one of the cons that I have with this camera here. One of the other cons that I found is the LEDs here are too bright. This is a big LED, one in the front, one in the back, and you can see that I blacked it out with black paint. And the reason why is because when I'm filming, it's flashing like crazy, and it's actually really distracting. And just how big that light is, yeah, very distracting at nighttime, even during the day, and that's the reason why I blacked it out. Kind of eerie to be down here, especially back here. It's kind of eerie to be back here as well, and it's not lit. And it's a shrine. Oh gosh, I feel. The battery life on this camera is a pro or it's a con. It depends on how you're trying to use this camera. If you're a person who is like me, who is constantly vlogging throughout the day, you start in the morning and you end at nighttime, so you're constantly having the camera go on and on and on, what you'll find is you actually will need about 2 to 4 batteries to make it throughout the day. And so for myself, I use 2 batteries, and about evening time it dies, both batteries, and then I would have to go and charge it. But if you're a casual person who is using this camera for, you're doing something in particular, like for instance riding down a hill on like a mountain bike with your buddies, and you're only doing that for 4 hours, 2 batteries will work great for most people. But if you're someone who's using this for travel vlogging, definitely you need more batteries. So would I recommend this camera long-term as a travel vlogging camera? The answer is yes and no. Yes, because it's a lot of fun to use. It's really easy to use. And the main advantage is you're able to capture your surrounding with ease without thinking about it. And that's the main benefit of this camera. But the no's actually outweighs more than yes, because as a travel vlogging camera, there are some downfalls, and they're major. One of them is not being able to zoom properly and with great quality. So for instance, I'm gonna zoom here. Let me just zoom into that shrine just right at the end of this alley here. And you can see when I zoom in, the digital crop, it's very grainy, right? The quality is just not there. And that's a big issue for me, because what if I wanted to show my viewers something far away, where in a normal point and shoot camera, I can be able to do that. Even with my iPhone, I'm able to do that in much better quality. So zoom capability is limited. Second thing is quality. The image of this camera is just not as good as a point and shoot or with an iPhone. It's just not there. And so if you're trying to grow a YouTube channel and you want to eventually have quality, right? So having this as a long-term camera for that is just not a viable option. The third major downfall of this thing that really prevents me from having this as a long-term travel vlogging camera is the amount of hours additional that I need to add onto my workflow at the end when I'm editing the video. Because with the 360 footage, you have to reframe it afterwards. So you shoot the footage, you go out, you do your footage capturing, you go home, you plug it in, you reframe all the video, export that, and then you put that into your video editing software. Can you just imagine how many hours that takes? It takes a lot of hours. And so long term, I definitely wouldn't be able to do it, wouldn't be sustainable. So I don't see this as my main travel vlogging camera throughout my entire journey here. But if you're using it for something that is like a purpose, like this, for instance, you're going down a mountain with your friends for about 4 hours or so, that's doable, that's okay, right? But if you're like me, who's using this full time all the time, and you're travel vlogging, you're vlogging about your whole day and stuff like that, it is a lot of work. And so it's just a lot easier with a point and shoot camera, where most of the shots are already reframed. So conclusion, am I happy with the purchase that I made? Yes. Am I going to be using it long term? Definitely not. So that's what my thoughts are with this Insta360 X3 camera. And I hope you enjoyed my review on this. Anyways, take care. I'll see you next time. Peace.